During the spring festival holiday, high school classmates who had graduated for many years launched a party invitation in the class group, and in the face of the inquiries of the 7 aunts and 8 aunts at home, I decisively took this opportunity to escape from home. We played truth or dare at the party, and the whole night was uneventful. And by the end of the game, I finally lost. Looking at the group of people in front of me, whose underwear had been stripped clean and their eyes glowed green, I took the risk of choosing a big adventure. Classmate, make a phone call to the top of your WeChat and say, "My wife misses you." But my WeChat is at the top of my boss after all. It is my food and clothing parents, and I should be put on top so as not to miss important information. I hesitated, but this is my company boss. Classmate, Mary? I shook my head, student, then fight with the strength of the wine. I bit the bullet and hit it, hoping that she would not accept it. However, in less than 3 seconds, Mia's sexy voice came from inside. "What's the matter?" I gritted my teeth and said the sentence, amidst everyone's expectant eyes. "Wife, I miss you." The other side paused for a moment, and before I hung up the phone he said, "Well, I miss you too." Seeing everyone covering their mouths and looking at me silently, I hurriedly hung up the phone. "I'm not married." "Not what you think." The classmate pressed his hand. "We understand. We all understand office romance, low-key and low-key. My heart is tired and covers my face." "No, you don't understand. I can only be glad in my heart. Fortunately, I haven't been to work these days, otherwise I would have to pick out a set of Thompson in front of Mia. However, Mia can say this kind of thing. Of them are drunk, and it is estimated that he will forget about it tomorrow. I forgot about it the next day, on the morning of the 2nd day of the Lunar New Year. I heard my father's laughter through the door, and then I heard my mother knocking on the door. "Alex, get up." I was about to wonder why my mother had such a good temper today, speaking softly. Then she said, "Your girlfriend is here. Come out quickly." I jumped out of bed in shock and opened the door. "What girlfriend? Who's got a girlfriend?" My mother smiled so much that the crow's feet on her face came out. "Of course it's your girlfriend, you kid. Why are you hiding it with such an excellent girlfriend? You should bring it back early." I looked over my mother and saw the back of the woman on the sofa in the living room, tall and slender. This is not a liar, right? Or is it selling insurance?" I pulled my mother into the room and gently closed the door. I asked, "Mother, that person didn't ask you for money, did he?" My mother patted me. "Hey, what are you talking about? I just sent a red envelope to pay New Year's greetings." How can I become a liar? I looked embarrassed. "But, Mother, I don't have a girlfriend." My mother was stunned for a moment. "My ex-Skerdline is also counted. That girl has come to the door. You can rekindle your old feelings. The child is good-looking." And I gave her a red envelope of 500 yuan. "What?" I couldn't help but be shocked. "Then you only gave me 100 yuan. Am I my own?" My mother rolled her eyes at me. "No. I charged the phone bill to send it. How could I give birth to such a stupid son?" "Forget it. Since it's not your girlfriend, it's probably the wrong door. I'll send her away so that I don't have to worry about it." I stopped my mother. "No, I have to get the red envelope back. Otherwise it's over. You bad boy." My mother wanted to grab me, but I was dodged by a flexible position. So I rushed to the hall and said to the man, "Happy New Year. Congratulations." Well, I looked at the boss in front of me and held back the words behind me. I looked at the boss with exquisite makeup in front of me, and suddenly remembered that I hadn't washed up yet. My beard was unkempt, and I was about to cut through the floor for a while. Mia got up and looked at me. His eyes were gentle. "Alex, Happy New Year." I was at a loss. The boss took the wrong medicine. Mia continued, "I don't want to announce our relationship so soon, but when you called that day, my parents already knew about our relationship, and they now ask me when I can take you home to see." In a flash of lightning, I suddenly connected to Mia's brain circuit. It must have been when they called her that night, and it happened that someone else heard the misunderstanding. So he also came over to pour dirty water on me now, so that I was misunderstood. The slightest grief will be rewarded, and it is worthy of Mia's skin. However, can I be afraid of her? Don't be in vain for the shield that comes to the door. Hugged her shoulders affectionately, and when I saw Mia's face stiffening slightly, I couldn't help but curl the corners of my mouth. Mother and father, let me officially introduce you. This is Mia, my girlfriend. I sat in the living room eating melon seeds, watching her being interrogated by my parents like a physical examination, and I couldn't help but feel happy in my heart. Mia Poppy, you also have today. At the dinner table, I struck hard again, frequently picking up vegetables for the boss: greasy button meat, garlic, ginger, coriander, fold a deer root, etc. After a meal, I gained the boss's gaze from confusion to anger. I smiled at her subtly. I know you love to eat. Eat more, you're welcome. Mia reached out under the table and held my hand, pinching it lightly and heavily. Thank you. I felt threatened and bowed my head to eat honestly. My mother suddenly said, "How long have you been together? When do you plan to get married?" I looked up at Mia to see how she planned to make it up. Mia looked at me with a gentle face. Although we haven't been together for a long time, we already know each other well enough. And I can't imagine what it would be like without Alex in the future. I touched the goose and on my arm and felt a chill. I looked up at Mia and signaled with my eyes that he shouldn't make up so outrageous flesh. Mia's mouth rose. A smile flashed, and continued. I hope we can get married as soon as possible, but the Civil Affairs Bureau should not have started work yet, and it may take another 2 days. As for the wedding, the two of us need to discuss it and handle it slowly, and we will not be short of the procedures that should be in place. It really shocked my whole family, and the chicken legs I was holding in my chopsticks fell off the table in fright. I kicked Mia in annoyance. There must be a limit to nonsense. How can I explain to my parents afterwards, saying that she's dead and can't get married? My father hesitated. Could it be too soon? You just met your parents. Mia looked at me. His eyes were so gentle that they seemed to be a couple who really loved each other. The right person will be together sooner or later, but I want to be early or late. As she spoke, she inadvertently took out a large handful of car keys from her pocket. By the way, Uncle, do you want to go on a road trip during the Chinese New Year holiday? I have a lot of cars parked in my garage. All of them are dusty. You can take the time to pick one, and it will be much more convenient to commute to work. I clearly saw that my father's eyes widened. Mia turned to look at my mother again. Auntie, I know you are not worried about Alex. I have a few suites in Jingcheng, and we will live there when we get married. And you can also choose one to live there, and it will be convenient for Alex to go back to see your second elder when he is homesick. My mother immediately smiled, took out her household registration book and slapped the table proudly. Oops. What is your name, Auntie? You should change your name to Mom. As one of the parties, I was stunned. When I came back to my senses, I hurriedly spoke to stop this farce. Actually, we are not one by one. Mia suddenly held my hand, with a gentle smile in the corner of his eye, and he'd cut off the words I haven't finished yet. We are in free love, and I don't need a bride price. I was silent. I gave in. On the 7th day of the month, it is time to go to work. I held the household registration book and refused to get in the car. Mia looked directly at me through the car window, knocking on the steering wheel again and again, giving people a strong sense of oppression. Do you want to regret it? People will inevitably be carried away in the face of sudden wealth, but after waking up, they will inevitably hesitate and doubt. Why are you marrying me? I'm so ordinary and unfamiliar. Even if you want to find someone to deal with your family, you shouldn't look for me. I took a step back warily. To be honest, I've been thinking about it for the past few days, and I suspect that she wants to trick me into going home and rub my waist. Or she wants to take out my heart for her heart disease. or she has a crush on my cornea. Mia suddenly smiled. You are not ordinary. You are different from others. You are very special. The way she looked at me seemed to have a breath of spring water, so gentle that she wanted to drown people. I felt a little hot at the base of my ear. I asked, "What is different about me from others?" As soon as the words were spoken, I immediately realized that the tone was wrong, and I was like a little girl. The words of capitalists are really terrible. I was a little angry and blurted out, "Mia, I suspect you are suspected of organ trafficking." Mia chuckled. "Why? Do you want to say that I stole your heart?" My face suddenly turned red. "That's not what I meant. It's, who will say such earthy love words?" Mia smiled at the corner of his eye. "You are talking to me through a door. Are you afraid that if you get close to me, your heart will be stolen?" "You fart." I climbed into the car angrily and looked at her demonstratively. "See, I'm not afraid of you. Don't talk nonsense." "Okay, since you're not afraid, then go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now." When the car hit the road, I realized that something was wrong. I just wanted to regret it. Why did I suddenly get in the car and go to the Civil Affairs Bureau? At the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I stopped and refused to move forward. Mia turned to look at me. "What's wrong?" I looked at Mia's face, gritted my teeth, and said, "Boss, I'm sorry. I don't think we're suitable. You can find someone else to get married." Mia stared at me with her beautiful eyes, which made me feel tight behind me, as if I was being stared at by a wolf. "Tell me, where are we wrong? Or do you have someone you like? We don't know each other. I can't accept living with someone I've barely communicated with, lying in the same bed together." Mia took a step forward and looked down at me. "Is there any other reason?" I lowered my head and didn't dare to look at her. I don't want to easily put myself on the second half of my life for the sake of money. I think happiness is the most important thing in a person's life, and you don't have to be me. Mia suddenly raised his hand and pressed it on my shoulder, and I subconsciously raised my head and crashed into her seductive eyes at a glance. She said softly, "You're right. It's actually important to have fun in time." I sensed the danger and waved her hand away in a panic, not paying attention to what she had just said. "Stay away from me." As soon as I looked up, I found that her face was a little gloomy. Then I hurriedly remedied. Hey. I think you're too close. It's a little hot." I regretted it as soon as I finished speaking. "It's winter. It's so hot." "It's okay. I'm not forcing you." Mia returned to his usual appearance and said, "I just need someone to deal with my family, and you happened to bump into it, and it just happened to be the right one." She let out a long sigh. "I should make it clear to you. You cannot fulfill your marital obligations when we get married. And if you meet someone you like in the future, you can also file for divorce. And I will give you one every month during the marriage." I immediately hesitated again. "Then will we sleep in separate rooms after we get married? It's up to you whether you divide the house or not, mainly to deal with your family. During the marriage, you can ask me for reimbursement for furniture and luxury gifts." The scales in my heart began to tip, and it was hard not to be excited. Mia continued, "If you are not at ease, I will ask someone to list all the conditions mentioned above later and sign a marriage agreement." "Can I think about it again?" I asked. Mia looked down at his watch and said with a businesslike face, "I can still give you 3 minutes to think about it. I still have something to do in the afternoon, so I don't have time to waste time with you." "What about a few days?" I asked again. Mia frowned and looked at me, and suddenly chuckled, with a little mockery. "My time is precious, and this holiday's over. Haven't you thought about it yet? Or have you been playing tricks on me all the time?" I suddenly didn't dare to speak. I don't know why Mia's attitude suddenly changed and became extremely oppressive. But it also reminds me that she was also like this when she was in the company. Resolute and resolute. Serious and done offensive. This is what she really looks like. Mia urged. Have you thought about it? 3 minutes passed. Mia's tone was a little impatient. I hurriedly said, not. I took a breath and stepped into the door of the Civil Affairs Bureau like a heroic righteousness seeking wealth and danger. I was just getting married. There was nothing to be afraid of. I looked at the freshly baked shred book in my hand, and I was a little unbelievable for a while. The marriage certificate in my hand was suddenly taken away, and I looked up and saw Mia stuffing the marriage certificate that belonged to me into his pocket very naturally. I couldn't help but say, boss, that's mine. One for each person. I got married based on my ability, and of course the marriage certificate belongs to me. Mia glanced at me lightly. What's the problem? I blinked and said, unconvinced lie. It's like you can get married by yourself. You'll pay me back quickly. Mia leaned against the card or unfolded his arms with both hands, looking at me and raising his eyebrows slightly. So you want it? Then, come and get it yourself. I stared at her, perverted. How does she want me to take it? Do you want me to pick up her clothes like a hooligan in public? Mia seemed to kindly remind. Don't wait for the time, if you want to get it. Hurry up. Looking at the smile on Mia's mouth, I realized for the first time that she turned out to be a person with bad taste in private. Since you don't want it, forget it. Let's get in the car and go back, Mia said with a regretful face. I believe in your evil. Looking at Mia's uncontrollable smug smile between his eyebrows, I felt more and more depressed. Smile, what's so funny? Why didn't she put on that coffin face at this time? I went around before opening the door and sitting in the passenger seat. Then Mia also opened the door on the other side and got into the car. I glanced at her and immediately turned my head to look out the window. Little pufferfish, Mia's voice rang in my ears. I don't know when she leaned over, and as soon as I turned my head, I met her enlarged degree beauty with no dead ends, and my heart jumped suddenly. I tilted my head back, shortened the distance from her, calmed down and asked, Why are you so close all of a sudden? It scared me. Mia's tone was very innocent. I'm going to drive. You haven't fastened your seatbelt. After saying that, she raised her hand and pulled out the seatbelt from the top right of me and buckled it. I have hands. Won't you open your mouth to remind you? I said indignantly. Mia raised his hand and said sincerely, I'm sorry, I was wrong about the little pufferfish. I will never do it next time I can move my mouth. Who do you say pufferfish? You are a pufferfish. Yes, we are all pufferfish. Mia's tone was perfunctory. I'll take you home to see our parents. Are you going to see your parents? I looked at the magnificent little villa in front of me, and then looked down at myself, dressed casually, with empty hands, and I wanted to cry without tears. Why didn't you say it earlier? Do you think I'm suitable like this? Mia frowned. Why is it not appropriate? You have received all the certificates, and you still want to regret it? I was a little speechless. How could I think that if I pulled the certificate, everything would be fine? And the marriage certificate was a talisman? I was a little angry. I'm not prepared for anything, am I polite? He suddenly laughed. So you care so much about what my parents think of you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you in advance about going to see my family. I've prepared things in advance. In the trunk. I'll have someone come over to get it later, and we'll go first. Don't worry. They're happy with you, and they won't have a problem with what you wear. When I walked to the door, I suddenly remembered something. No, didn't you say you had something to do in the afternoon? Why did you suddenly go home again? I stood still and stared at her suspiciously. Mia raised his eyebrows and said seriously, Isn't it a very important thing to take you home? What's wrong with that? But this itinerary is based on the premise that I will get a certificate with her, and she has bought everything in advance, so she simply expected that I would definitely agree to get married. Damn down. I feel like I stepped into the pit set by the capitalist again. I have an urge to turn around and run away now. The capitalist is so concerned about me. Could it be that she really likes the organs up and down my body? Mia suddenly raised his hand on my shoulder, held my shoulder. and said in an unhurried tone, "If you can run away from the monk, you can run away from the temple. Kick you at the door. Will I kick you in? Or will you step yourself? Is she a roundworm in my stomach?" I reluctantly knocked on the door. When I went in, I realized that Mia's house was not a dragon pool and tiger's den. It was like a coiled silk hole, which would entangle me with money and corrode me. Mia's family is different from what I thought. Mia's father and Mia's mother both look quite rich and have a very amiable attitude towards me. "This is Alex." Mother Mia looked at me and smiled. "It looks solid. It is worthy of being the son-in-law of my Mia family. Tom, this is my greeting." Father Mia silently handed over a card. "Buy what you lack. We have a bad vision, and the things we buy are not in line with your young people's hearts." I wasn't sure if I should answer it, so I glanced at Mia. Mia looked calm. "Go on, a little bit of caution from your parents." Mia's parents are warm in measure. They don't make people feel pressured, and they even pulled me to play Machorn together after lunch. 3 are missing 1. Alex also comes to play together. Otherwise, there will not be enough people. Mia's parents and the cooking aunt at home brought me just enough for 4 people. "I won't. Let Mia play." I refused. Mia's mother took my hand and said with a smile, "It's okay. Let Mia teach you. If you lose, count her. Go play, don't worry. I won't let you lose too badly." Mia pushed me. No way. I was finally pulled onto the Machorn table. Forget it, if you lose, you lose. At the card table. Under Mia's guidance and Mia's father and Mia's mother put it underwater. I, a small chicken, frequently drew cards, and felt the joy of playing Machorn for the first time. Our parents are really good people. I collapsed in the back seat, counting a pile of brand new and thick 10, 20, or even 50 yuan bills, and I was so happy that I took off. Mia glanced at me from the rearview mirror. "Like? Then you can come and see them more often." I twisted into maggots with excitement in the back. I smiled and said, "That's so embarrassing." Mia chuckled and didn't reply to me. "Where are we going now, boss?" I asked. "You'll know when you get there." I looked at the room full of high-end suits and almost dropped my jaw in shock. While I happen to be free today, I will choose the suit I will wear for the wedding first. Mia raised his chin. "Let's see which sets you want." "Huh? Selection, how many sets should you choose?" But none of them looked like I could afford them. Mia glanced at me obliquely. "Don't worry. I'll pay." I smiled at Mia. "Thank you, boss." The boss is atmospheric. I turned my head to look carefully at the suits in the room, and felt that I couldn't start for a while. It's dazzling. I decisively turned my head to look for an aide. "Boss, which one do you like?" "I'll show you what to wear." Mia's face was slightly unhappy. "It's not working time now, just call me by name." After saying that, she turned to look at the staff on the side and commanded, "You go and bring all the wedding dresses in that row." Alex went to try. I tried them one by one, gradually going from excitement to numbness. Mia sat on the sofa, stomping her legs and commenting, full of interest. "This one is okay. This one is not good. This is very good. But one set is not enough. This? No, it won't work. This one is not bad either, but I want to see the next one." "Don't try." I glared at her. "You should be playing a dress-up game." Mia touched his nose and said with a slightly guilty conscience, "That. Why don't I show you it too? You go to choose. There are many wedding dresses here." "Where?" The staff on the side said, "In the inner room. I will take you there." I followed the staff into the inner room, where rows of wedding dresses were hung. I looked around, covered my mouth and snickered maliciously, and then asked people to take out all the sexy-looking wedding dresses. "That's it. You can wear it." Mia glanced at the wedding dress in front of him and glanced at me with a complicated expression. "It turns out you like this style." My face turned red. I didn't. Mia gave me a meaningful look. I understand. After saying that, she took her clothes into the fitting room to change, leaving me to stretch out her Kane's hand in place. No, you don't understand. The door of the fitting room opened, and Mia walked over with small steps. The white shoulder is worn on her sexy and beautiful. Sorry, I really don't know how to describe it because I was stunned. How is it? Do you like it? I looked away in a panic and said stiffly, reluctantly, that's it. Mia approached, lowered his head to my ear and let out a chuckle. My face is red. I look like it. I'm hot. I pushed her away with a red face, listened to her laughter, and couldn't help but be angry and said, "Don't have a fever at me." Boom. Laughter suddenly came from the side, and I turned my head to see the staff covering their mouths, their faces flushed. "I'm sorry," you continue. "I didn't hear anything just now." After saying that, he turned his back and pretended that nothing had happened. The awkward atmosphere spread out, and I recalled what I had just said, wishing I could dig a hole and bury myself in the soil immediately. Mia didn't seem to feel my suffering, and said nonchalantly, "Since you have finished reading it, then I will go to the next set." I stood up and said weakly, "Don't look at it. You can choose it yourself. I'll go." "Wait a minute." Mia grabbed my collar, pulled me back, frowned, and said, "What are you running?" "I'll take you home," turning his head and saying to the people behind him, "Wrap up all the clothes she picked out just now and send them to Jinyang Community." I grabbed her arm and was a little confused. "Are you going to buy all those clothes back?" Mia got very close, his lips almost pressed to my ear, and he said in a breathy voice, "Take it back and wear it for you to see. You can see it if you can't see it." My face turned all red. What kind of tiger and wolf word is this? "You. Don't do this." "What is this, huh?" Mia deliberately dragged out the ending, and his voice was indescribably seductive. I was a little nervous by Mia. "You will make me mistakenly think that you really like me. We are just an agreement couple." Mia suddenly put her arms around me, her head resting slightly on my shoulder, and I could feel her trembling from laughing. "What a fool. I'm taking you home." My heart suddenly beat fast as if something was about to break through the ground. I muttered, "I'm not stupid." Mia lay on my shoulder and smiled happily. "Yes, you are not a fool, I am. Let's go back." I pushed her. As soon as I entered the company, I felt the joyful atmosphere of the company, and Mia's eyes looked at me even more implicitly. What happened? When I first returned to my desk, I met my colleague with a twinkle in his eyes. "The boss is here. You have to take care of me in the future." When I heard their words, I suddenly realized what the morning gaze meant. But one by one, "Where did you get the news?" "I just got married yesterday." "Why does everyone know about it today?" "The boss has posted on Moments, and everyone who has added WeChat has seen it." What's more, the colleague sitting across from me raised a handful of candy in his hand. "Company has given out candy." I was shocked. "When did it go? Why don't I know?" "Mr. Chen sent a group message yesterday to inform everyone to go to the front desk to get it. Do you still need others to notify you to get your own candy?" The colleague at the next desk poked his neck and looked gossipy. "By the way, Alex, how did you take down the boss? Do you have any tricks?" The Overlord's literature shines into reality. "Tell me how you got together." "How long have you been together?" Mia has always been her. "Is it powerful?" When the words fell, Mia was silent for a moment, and his 3 pairs of eyes stared at me in unison. I don't know. Haven't you already secretly moved to Chen Kingji and lived together? How can it be unclear?" Sister Mia, who was sitting across from me, stared at me, her gaze slid, and then suddenly covered her mouth and laughed. I suddenly remembered the red marks on my neck that I saw in the mirror in the morning. I slept soundly last night. These should have been bitten by mosquitoes, and I deliberately applied wind oil lessons to it. He misunderstood. It was bitten by mosquitoes. The colleague teased. "We understand. It was bitten by a very large mosquito." In the face of Sister Mia's ridicule, I shut up hatefully. It seems that this misunderstanding is unclear, and it is all to blame for Mia's big mouth. During the lunch break, I rushed to the president's office. "Please come in." I pushed the door in and met Mia's gaze. A lot of incidents piled up in the company over an annual vacation, which made her look a little tired, and most of my anger disappeared at once. Mia put down the documents in his hand and stretched his brows. Why did you come up? What do you want to eat for lunch? I'll ask someone to book. I closed the door, and finally expressed my dissatisfaction. How did you spread the word about our marriage? What should I do if I get divorced at that time? Mia's face was dark, and he stared at me faintly. You want to divorce so much. I was frightened by Mia's sudden change of face and subconsciously took a step back. I was very quick and shook my head quickly. I didn't have it. I'll just ask, and I'll go down if it's okay. After saying that, I put my hands behind my back and prepared to open the door and rush out, eagerly hoping to come and go. Unfortunately, Mia's office was not a toilet, and I was stopped. Come here. Mia raised his chin slightly. I stood still. Am I so scared? Mia smiled angrily. Come here. Don't you want the contract I promised you to sign before? Yes. I moved over and said, Where is it? He leaned on the back of the chair and looked at me, lazily. What? I said stubbornly. Contract. Suddenly Mia raised his leg and hooked my knee socket, and I didn't pay attention to my body being unbalanced, so I fell directly into Mia's body. Are you so worried about me? Then would it be a loss if I didn't do something? Mia pressed one hand on my neck and rubbed it, and we were so close that we could kiss it with a pout. At this time, I was not aware of Mia's thoughts. I was really a fool. I couldn't break free. My face turned red, and I spat out a sullen sentence. Liar. Let me go. Mia noticed that I was really angry, and suddenly let go of his hand and helped me sit up straight. Just kidding. But we are all married, and physical contact will definitely be indispensable in front of outsiders in the future. I think you need to get used to it as soon as possible. I fled into the wilderness. In the staff cafeteria, I was eating in a small corner with a plate, and Mia's phone called. Where are you? I'm eating. Where to eat? If you don't say it, I'll ask someone else. I poked the rice on the plate hatefully and reluctantly said, Staff cafeteria. Sit by the window on the far left. Wait for me to pass. Oh, I hung up the phone and immediately inhaled the storm, planning to leave immediately when Mia came over. Mia came quickly, but not as fast as I could cook. Are you done eating? Mia frowned and looked at me. Why don't you wait for me? Mia's tone was quite resentful, and I changed the topic with a guilty conscience. Why are you only here now? Aren't you better a long time ago? Mia's face froze inexplicably. I went to the bathroom. How long does it take to go to the toilet? I looked up at her and found that Mia's ears were red, and I understood. Oh, it turns out to be constipated. Then you eat slowly. Remember to eat more vegetables and whole grains. I'll eat first. Are you in a hurry? Mia held my hand that wanted to run away with the plate. If it's okay, just wait for me. I have something to tell you. Just as I was about to find a reason to leave, Mia spoke again. If you can't remember, I can call someone to ask your minister. I had to hold back. I'm fine. Mia gradually increased the number of people passing by, intentionally or unintentionally, and the obscure eyes cast by everyone made me feel like sitting on pins and needles. I watched Mia eat slowly and orderly, and I couldn't wait to help her stuff all the rice into her mouth. What's the matter? Don't eat or sleep. Mia raised his eyes and glanced at me, and then lowered. You wait for me to finish eating. I want to say, then you should eat faster. But just after being looked at by her, a guilty conscience rose inexplicably, and I felt like an impatient, heartless man. It's all because Mia is so good-looking. Finally. When Mia finished eating, Mia's people were almost gone. If you have anything, tell me quickly, I urged. I plan to arrange a meeting between the two parents this weekend to discuss the list of people for the wedding. When things are complicated, I plan to ask someone to help arrange. Do you have any ideas? I hung my head and poked the leftovers on the plate one by one. You can arrange it. I have no experience. If you need to tell me anything. Also, you have been to the new house once. Do you think there is anything that needs to be changed? After we get married, we will live there, and we will go to the home city together in a few days, and we will buy anything when we are missing. I could sense that the other party had a substantive gaze, and an impatience rose in my heart inexplicably. No problem, just decide. The two families took time to eat and quickly finalized the wedding. At my strong request, everything was simple, from receiving the certificate to holding the wedding, in just 2 months. Although it sounds rushed, the preparation work did not fall on me, and I was still the same as before. Alex? As soon as I went downstairs, a familiar figure rushed over. Leo. I looked at the big brother in front of me in surprise. My close friend Leo actually came back from abroad. When did you come back? Why didn't you tell me in advance? You are embarrassed to talk about me. Why don't you tell me when you get married? Not enough, buddy. I laughed twice and said a little embarrassed lie. I'm talking about this for a long time. Maybe I'll leave again after a while. Moreover, haven't you been busy abroad lately? I don't want you to toss back and forth like this. He punched me. Don't talk about it, tell me. What's going on? Go find a place to sit and talk. There's a coffee shop nearby. Go over there. The company is on lunch break now, and it is inevitable that someone will pass by downstairs, which is really not a good place to talk. Leo nodded. There were few people in the CIF at noon, but I still dragged Leo to find a corner to sit in. I explained the ins and outs of the matter clearly, and Leo's face was a little strange. You said you got married by agreement? Mia needs to find someone to deal with his parents? I nodded. It can't be that she likes me. Right? Although some of her behaviors are indeed misunderstood. Leo stirred the coffee and suddenly asked, Do you remember the transfer student sitting behind you when you were in your second year of high school? I looked puzzled, transfer student. It's the girl with short hair like a tomboy. Named Zoe, Leo reminded. I patted my head, and as soon as I said this, I remembered that old yin and yang weird de nouveau rich is right. Then do you remember what she looks like? I shook my head. I don't remember. I have the impression that she seems to be quite fierce, and I don't dare to look at her seriously. I'm afraid of being beaten by her. Leo laughed so hard that tears came out. Do you know what she's called now? I recalled. I heard that he was punished for putting someone else in the hospital and then transferred to our side. Do you believe this too? No wonder you are so afraid of her. Leo suddenly asked again. Do you know how I knew you were getting married? Before I could speak, Leo continued. I saw it in her circle of friends. Miss She. My first reaction is Mia. But what does Leo have to do with Mia? Who are you talking about? Leo did not answer and asked, Do you know why the tomboy blamed me in the first place? I couldn't understand why the topic suddenly jumped here, but I couldn't help but be curious. Why? Come closer, I'll tell you. Leo hooked his hand at me. What's the matter? God is mysterious. I leaned my head over. Before Leo could speak, I heard a sound of hurried footsteps behind me, followed by a gravity pulling on my arm. Before I could react, I was surprised to hear Leo speak first. Hi. Long time no see, old classmate. I tilted my head and saw Mia's face that was so black that it could drip ink. Mia came menacingly, as if catching a traitor, which made me a little inexplicable. Mia's face was ugly, and there seemed to be a flash of panic in his eyes. What are you doing here for? Leo ignored Mia and said with a smile, Alex, why are you Mr.? Mia so fierce. Will she secretly beat you behind your back? Women with domestic violence tendencies don't want it. Mia, she's not that kind of person. She has a good temper recently. I explained. Some people just like to do one thing in front of you and one set behind your back. Alex, you have to be careful. Leah smiled meaningfully. Come here. I have something to say to you alone. Can you let her go first? I tugged at Mia's sleeve and whispered, Can you let go of me first? I'll talk to my friend for a while. You go back first. If you have anything, just say it. Don't worry about me. Mia lowered his eyes and said casually, Besides, is there anything we can avoid between our husband and wife? Looking at these two forty people, I simply couldn't understand what the two of them had to do with each other. I can smell the smell of gunpowder even when I cover my nose. I looked left and right. When did you meet each other? Alex, come over to me. Lyle, if you want to know what to come to me, I'll tell you slowly. When I was distracted, I suddenly felt that my eyes were dark, and my eyes were covered by a palm. I was stunned and blinked. Boss, what are you doing? Mia's cold voice sounded in my ears. Saturday is my wedding with Alex. I welcome you to attend. We will go back first if we have something to do. In this way, I was escorted away by Mia by the neck. I patted me as Armand wanted her to let go of me, but I met her gloomy eyes. The scarlet lips are stretched in a straight line, highlighting the owner's displeasure. I let go of my hand and looked up to see Mia casting his gaze, which made me feel an inexplicable shame for a moment. Leo made a lip gesture to me, and if I didn't read it wrong, he seemed to be saying, You ask for more blessings. I wanted to cry without tears, and for the first time I felt that. I can't bear the cold in high places. Mia's steps were fast, and I was about to enter the company, so I quickly put on my mask. It's just covering your ears and stealing the bell. Mia was quiet. I secretly looked up and found that Mia did not go back to the company, but turned into the underground parking lot. I breathed a sigh of relief, but fortunately I didn't lose face and lost my job in the company before I could finish celebrating. Mia opened the car door and stuffed me in, squeezing me to sit down. With a bang, the door was closed again. The cramped space made me nervous, and I couldn't help but shrink back, wanting to stay away from her. However, it was useless, unless the door suddenly opened and I could get out of it. Mia looked at me without speaking, and the atmosphere in the car froze. I bit the bullet and sang, Why did you come here suddenly? What are you doing together? Why is it so close? Let's just talk normally. I don't understand why Mia looks like he wants to eat people. I glanced at her and shrank my neck in fear. Can you stay away from me? It's too stuffy. Mia got closer, his tone aggressive. It's not boring or too close to be with others, right? Am I so annoying to you? Don't. One? I struggled desperately. Like a dehydrated fish. I couldn't breathe. In desperation, I took a bite of her, and my mouth was filled with the smell of blood. Mia finally let go. I took a deep breath of fresh air and was about to denounce her for this immoral behavior. But when I looked up, I found someone disheveled silently hanging his head. His long eyelashes drooped, his eyes were red, and his eyes were filled with a large bag of tears, looking like he had been wronged. Heaven and earth can be learned. If I hadn't been one of the parties, I would have thought that she was being bullied. I haven't cried yet. What are you doing? It's not about martial arts. Do you know if you have a bad character? I pushed her viciously. You let me go now. I'm sorry. Don't you hate me, okay? Mia cried so hard that his voice was hoarse. I know I'm wrong. Don't leave me behind, okay? I couldn't pull her away for a long time. And for a long time, I looked at the person in front of me who was still crying silently. Say one thing with your mouth closed. Do another said. Do you pretend? Right. You're right. I was wrong. I don't think there is any need to continue this wedding. Let's find a time to get the divorce certificate. I turned my head and held the door handle again, trying to open the door and get out of the car. Suddenly a force of gravity pushed my hand away. Enough, Mia. Do you remember where this is? Mia stopped and hugged me still. I looked at the roof and didn't understand why things suddenly turned out to be like this. I can. Mia's voice was hoarse. He paused, showing an expression of enduring humiliation. I can be a co-wife. as long as you are willing to give me a little time. I don't mind. What nonsense are you talking about? Why don't you mind? I sat up in shock from my dying illness. What kind of wife? Didn't he come back? Mia's voice tightened. And didn't you and I agree to marry for him? What is there to admit? Who? Is this Leo? What is in her head? God blood? Leo is my friend. F.A. Xiao, brother. We have been in the same school and class since elementary school. Really? Mia's eyes lit up and he stared at me tightly. I rolled my eyes. When I was in school, I looked malnourished, and I was bullied by others, and Leo beat me back. Mia held my hand, his eyes shining. Then we must invite him over for our wedding. I patted her hand away. Tell me, when did you and Leo meet? Why do you think so? Mia hesitated, looking around and talking about other things. It seems like the lunch break is past, and I have to go back to work. Mia hurriedly ran out of the car without raising his head. Wait a minute, I shouted, and instead of stopping people, I made people run faster. I recalled the messy shirt Mia wore when he got out of the car, as well as the lipstick marks on his face and those shallow tear stains. Forget it. It's not me who is ashamed anyway. But I have to take a leave of absence in the afternoon, so I won't listen to Mia's jokes, so that I won't be embarrassed. I looked down at my clothes that were wet from crying on my chest, and I immediately felt a little embarrassed. I packed my clothes and prepared to take a taxi home. Alex turned around and saw Leo standing behind me. You're still here. I sat for a while before coming out. Didn't you go back to work? You were splashed with water. Mia, how did she do it to make you be bullied in the workplace? I looked at Leo's brows furrowed, looking like he was about to go up and vent his anger on me, and quickly grabbed him. No, you misunderstood. It has nothing to do with the company. I didn't go back at all. Then, what's going on? Me, I did it? My eyes wandered from side to side. Thinking about it, I really felt a little ashamed for Mia. She hugged me and cried until she cried. Is she crying again? Leo let out a strange smile and leaned on my shoulder and said, It seems that you were born to defeat her. I was a little confused. Crying again? Do you remember the battle letter that Tomboy gave you? I asked you to go to the back door of the school. You were about to cry. Leo couldn't help but want to laugh when he said it, and he didn't care about me who wanted to pick his feet next to me. I retorted, I didn't go at the time, and I wasn't really afraid, and now that I think about it, I seem to have misunderstood her at the time. That was a love letter from someone to you, and I told you not to go at that time. Leo didn't wait for me to refute, and continued, Actually, I went to find her that day. I went to mock her, and asked her to stop harassing you, but she seems to have misunderstood our relationship. I didn't explain and added fuel and vinegar to show off how good our relationship was. Who let her always be behind my back? You don't know. The fact that we separated the seats was caused by her. In the end, she couldn't get angry and got into a fight with me. I was shocked. What then? Hit me? Leo shrugged. She cried, and she may have cried angrily after all. I also said a lot of things about our good relationship at the time. I mocked her, saying that she wanted to eat swan meat. I suspect that she turned away later because I hit her. By the way, she has now changed her name to Mia. It's your Mia. The amount of information was too much, and I didn't slow down for a while. Don't be angry, brother. Leo stretched out his hand and shook it in front of my eyes. I shook my head helplessly. No, it's no wonder, Leo. The main reason is that her grades and appearance at that time. Except for a little money at home, where is she worthy of you? When I think of that scene, I can't help but laugh out loud. The wedding came as scheduled. I threw the bouquet to Leo, who was wearing a groomsman's uniform, and Leo took the flower and waved at me. In the room, I excitedly counted the red tickets. Lying on the red bed, I rolled around excitedly. You finished taking a shower. Okay, hurry up and take a shower. I held a handful of banknotes and spread them out into a fan. No, wait a moment. I haven't finished counting yet. It's okay. Mia said without blushing and not beating. You can count when you go to the bathroom and I will help you wash the bath. No. Alex. Huh? I like you. Mia hugged me tightly. I like the kind I like very much. I gently dropped a kiss on the bridge of her nose. Mia, I like you too. Extra Alex wakes up, class is on. When I heard the sound, I opened my eyes in a daze, and in a trance I seemed to see a familiar figure passing in front of me, followed by the smell of orange-flavored perfume wafting past the tip of my nose. My mind was smoked a lot, and I looked at Mia and found that this seemed to be a classroom, and there was Leo sitting next to me, a younger version. Dreaming? I twisted my arm. Hiss, it hurts. It seems that I have gone back in time. A cool breeze came from the side, and a familiar voice came from his ears. A student. What's wrong with wearing such a strong perfume? I looked sideways and saw Leo holding the scratch paper and fanning it with a disgusted face. What do you mean? I have a body fragrance. Do you understand femininity? I heard a familiar tone, turned my head, and sure enough, it was Mia with broken short hair, and when he saw me looking back, his ears were red and his eyes wandered. Mia stood up like a bluffing paper tiger, pointed at me and asked, "You give me a review, is he framing me at the same table?" I tactfully persuaded her, "I don't think you need to be so feminine at your age." She leaned against the wall, looking carefree. "You don't like it?" I touched my nose and didn't speak. Leo said unceremoniously, "It's smoked to death, who likes it?" Leo glanced at her provocatively, took out a mask from the drawer and put it on, and urged me to put it on quickly. I touched my pocket and there was indeed a mask in it. I recalled that this seemed to have happened in my previous life. But I didn't dare to look back that time, and Mia didn't talk to me. But I remember that Mia sprayed perfume for a few days, and then suddenly stopped spraying. Mia saw me take out my mask, suddenly dragged the chair to sit down irritably, and then buried his head on the table, exuding a decadent and unhappy aura all over his body. Not knowing what he thought of, he suddenly moved the chair back and leaned against the back of the chair. I secretly turned around and saw her eyebrows furrow, looking fierce, but with a bit of grievance and regret in her eyes. "What are you doing with me?" Mia glared at me, looking quite annoyed and angry. Peeking at the cot bag, I quickly turned my head back with a guilty conscience, pretending that nothing had happened. Leo turned around when he heard the sound and said contemptuously, "Who was looking at you? There are so many people behind. Are they looking back at you?" It's really self-inflicted. I quickly pulled Leo's clothes in motion for him to stop talking. I still haven't figured out when the two of them were-eyed. There was sudden movement behind, and before I could look back, I saw Mia walking out of the classroom angrily. Skipping class again, it's really useless. Leo turned to look at me again. "Alex, you can't want this kind of woman in the future." I was a little helpless. After a while, Mia passed by in front of me, secretly glancing at me from time to time. I finally couldn't hold back. "Mia, what are you doing?" Mia hesitated. I actually like to learn." I showed a look of disbelief and responded perfunctorily, "Oh, then what kind of girl do you like?" I could hear her accent on the girl. I looked weird. Did she misunderstand my sexuality so early? I saw that her face was full of nervousness, and suddenly wanted to play a prank, so I deliberately said, "Actually, I like the squad leader to study well, be beautiful, and have the ability. Girls." I watched Mia's face jump around like a pallet, and finally I didn't know what to think of, and I breathed a sigh of relief. "Then your requirements are quite high. I thought you liked Leo's firecrackers." The boys. I lowered my head and held back my smile. "Who do you say are the firecrackers?" Leo didn't know when he walked into the classroom. Mia's face turned black, he couldn't speak, and looked at me a little pitifully. I quickly turned my head and pointed the back of my head at her, for fear that I would suddenly laugh out loud. And then the cold-faced Mia also had this day. In the end, Mia sat back in his position with a stinky face, flipped through the book as if he was angry, and liked to mention Leo's big eyes. The next day, I stared at the pink water glasses, warm orange notebooks, and a series of cartoon stationery on the back table. Lost in thought, Mia moved away. So fast. Suddenly a cool breeze blew, and I watched Mia sit down in front of me and stretched out a hand with Peppa Pig's tattoo paper to put away the things on the table, and a small daisy was used on top of her head. The rubber band was tied with a small tug. I stared at her suspiciously. I suspected that she had been soul-pierced. You. Why do you suddenly like such a pink and cute thing? Mia's face was red with blood, but his tone was still tough. What's wrong with me liking these? Aren't these things a good match for my style? Don't you think it's good-looking? I'm speechless. You can look in the mirror and say this. Mia stared at me with burning eyes. I had no choice but to reply in my conscience. It looks good. It's just not a good match for you. Mia grinned and showed a big white tooth to me. If you look good, just look at it. I'm very generous. I quickly turned around and continued writing exercises. Hey, it's really Navi. I can't see it. The days passed without salt, as if things hadn't changed much. I found the pink envelope written by Mia in the drawer asking me to go to the back of the grove, and this time I went as promised. To my surprise, the purpose of her invitation to me was not to confess, but to say goodbye. Her hair was long, up to her chin, and she looked like a girl. Alex, my father, is going to City B to develop, and I will follow him. Mia looked at me, looking a little apprehensive. I heard that you didn't fall in love puppy in high school. I nodded. Are you preparing for the college entrance examination? I nodded again. B University has always been my goal, and I did B University in my previous life. Mia stretched out his hand slowly. Then we'll see you in City B in a year. Okay. I reached out and high-fived her. Let's meet at the top. You are not allowed to secretly find other dogs behind my back. Before I could speak, Leo's angry voice suddenly came from behind me. Mia, what are you doing? Leo was hurriedly pulled by me. I desperately winked at Mia. Hurry up. Mia grinned and waved goodbye to me. At the university's freshman entrance ceremony, someone suddenly patted me on the shoulder from behind. I turned around and saw a pair of shining eyes. Hi, husband. End record number. YXYAJNMPYMELDYDJHKBZHI who YNES story copyright Berlin girl has a total of works for you all to check and send soft drinks for you according to history, after watching Love Adventure with the female president, and recommending it as a villain. I beg for death check in the Bichon fries that is like my brother dog no. In the Sadmasistic category on the hot list brainhole romance likes and comments, I am allowed to become a villain who promotes the brushing of love in the ancient literature. I dress up as the villain male supporting character who drives the plot in ancient texts. When I came through, the male protagonist was missing the piano rating exam because I missed it. King Mei and my Fiang, he broke 10 of my fingers without saying anything. I knelt on the ground in pain and begged for mercy. Tang Mei fiercely stepped on my severed finger. Before Zhu passed the exam, I broke your finger once it got better. My Fiang Qi threw a knife directly in front of me. People like you will only hurt Azu again and again if they live. It's better to die. I endured the severe pain and stood up. This bullshit world. The young master didn't want to stay for a long time. But when I pressed my wrist directly against the sharp knife, the Fian King may turn pale instantly. You really want to die?